I can only see 7 students branché. I don't know where the others are, whether they're still in bed. So thank you for those people who have clicked on their microphone. You'll see that next to your name, you've got a little red truc, which is that your microphone can be put on. And I've already been in contact with two Mathildes. They don't have the red one, they have the green one, which means they've told BBB not to use microphone, which should be inbuilt on their computer, even though it's an old computer. You can all hear me fine? Good. We have, excellent. We have no problem there. Now, what I've organized for today is first a little quiz on the novel. I threatened you in an email saying that there were 40 questions. In fact, there are only 20. I had the quiz twice on a page and didn't realize that the second lot were the same questions. So if you go back to Moodle, you'll find I've just put the quiz online there for you. You can click on it and download it to your computer if you like. There are 20 fact questions on the novel. This will test how well do you know Our Gang week 1. The object of the quiz is simply to reveal to you how well you know little facts in the novel, and you'll come up with a final score out of 20. We'll go through the answers, and it simply indicates to you, look, you need to finish the novel really quickly, you need to reread the novel, you need to have a good knowledge of the novel for us to work together effectively. So I'm going to de-mic myself for 5 or 6 minutes and leave you time to write your answers on the sheet. It's just 1 or 2 words for each one. Can you go through the 20 questions and possibly without looking at the book? I mean, there's no point doing that. See how well you can answer those 20 questions. Perhaps when you do finish, you could send a little message to me in the public chat and say, I've finished the quiz. Okay? See how you go with that. Thank you. All right, let's get back into action. Some students have told me they're finished. The others should have finished a little quiz by now. So I'll just look at Morgan. Can you turn your microphone on, please?
Yes.
Good. When was our gang first published?
In 1971.
Excellent. I'm glad you knew that. We'll come, so it's one right answer for you. We'll continue with other students. Thank you for your input. Letitia, can you put on your microphone, please? Letitia, can you unmute, please? Letitia seems to be making a cup of tea. Ah, here we go. Yes. Well, question number 2. Who is the character of Robert F. Charisma? Obviously based on.
John F. Kennedy.
What was the first word you said?
John F. Kennedy.
Why would the name John suddenly become Robert?
I don't understand.
There were 2 Kennedy brothers, weren't there? What are their names? One is John, and who's the other one?
I don't know, sorry.
Robert is the other one. I think I've got the right question there. If it is Robert F. Charisma, I'll have to go and check. It's based on Robert Kennedy, not John Kennedy. Okay? So it's Robert Kennedy there. Number 3, we'll keep on going. Julien, can you put on your mic, please?
Yes.
Good. Chapter 3. In Chapter 1, it is proposed to extend the right to vote to whom?
To fetus.
Can you repeat that word, please?
To fetus.
That's a little French word you've come out with.
Yeah.
We pronounce it fetus in English, but there is a word used in the text.
The unborn.
That's it, the unborn. That's a sort of better answer. I mean, more or less the same thing. Thank you. Yasmin, question number 4. Yasmin is telling us she doesn't have a microphone. Well, Alex. Alex. Falling on Alex. Excellent. Question number 4. Which real war is referred to in the novel?
The Vietnam War.
Yes. Do you know much about it?
I studied it, but I don't really remember anything.
When did you study it?
In high school.
Oh, okay. What's the best way to find out more information about it? The easiest way?
The internet.
Where on the internet?
Well, Wikipedia.
Absolutely. So that's one way. Also, you can go to YouTube. I remember watching a series, I think I found it on YouTube, 10 hours, a documentary went for 10 hours on the Vietnam War. Can you imagine?
I might have revision cards on it somewhere.
Right. Well, thanks for the right answer there. Good. Dylan is next on my list.
You are now unmuted.
Yes,
Good. What was Tricky's profession before he became president?
he was a lawyer.
Yes, he was a lawyer. Is this common for politicians?
I think. Don't know.
I think so.
I think so.
What was South Cool? What was his previous occupation before he became president?
I don't remember. I was too young when he was a
Right. Have a guess. Have a guess.
lawyer.
Of course, he's another example. Thank you for that. Good.
You are now muted.
The Matildes are telling us they don't have a microphone. I'm not sure whether I believe them or not. Morgan, back to you.
Yes.
What sport did Kurt Flood play?
Baseball.
Excellent. Well done. Are you a baseball fan?
Oh, no, not really.
Me neither. Donc ça fait deux. Thank you. Laetitia? Laetitia? Yeah.
Sorry.
Number 7. To which city did Kurt Flood flee?
Don't know.
Ah, that's good. It's in Denmark. Have you finished reading the novel?
No, not yet.
Ah, you see, this is little quiz confirms that you haven't finished the novel. So please try and finish ASAP, okay? I think Letitia's going to promise to finish it. Julien, back to you.
Yes.
To which city did Kurt Flood flee?
Copenhagen.
You're just showing off. Are you finished reading the novel?
Yes.
Well done. Thank you for that. You could do the next one while we're here. Who lived in the historic castle at Elsinore?
Hamlet.
Yes. Have you read Hamlet?
No.
You mean not yet? What's the most famous line from Hamlet?
Ooh,
One line everyone on planet Earth knows.
to be or not to be, I think.
Good. Continue. 4 more
Oh.
words.
That is the question.
Thank you. Good. Thanks, Julien. Alex,
Yes.
Tricky, we're up to question number 9. Tricky has a habit of saying, let me make one thing.
Perfectly clear.
Yes. What do you, every time he says that, what do you think? I mean, what's your suspicion?
It's not going to be clear.
Absolutely. So every time a politician says to you, I'm going to be clear, we know that they're going to do the opposite. Thank you. Dylan, back to you.
Yes.
You are now unmuted.
Yes.
What is Tricky's version of the French expression, mes chers compatriotes?
My fellow Americans.
Yes. What's fellow mean?
Ah,
Ah,
I don't remember. I knew the meaning, but I don't remember.
you could talk to all the students in the TD this morning and you could say, my fellow students. What does fellow mean?
Someone. I don't. I can't explain it. I know, but I can't explain it.
By if the president says my fellow Americans, fine. But you could say, addressing all the students in the TD, my fellow students, it's the same meaning.
It's someone who is like you.
But I'll leave it to you to look up in the dictionary.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You are now muted.
Back to Morgan.
Yes, I'm here.
Now, this one really tests whether you read the novel or not. Question 11, how many Boy Scouts were killed?
1.
How much of the novel have you read?
The whole novel. But I think it's 1 killed and no, 3 killed. Sorry.
That's it. 3 were killed. You're right.
Yeah.
You got there. Fine. Thanks for that. Laetitia.
Yes.
Question 12. Which religious group does Tricky say he belongs to? What's his religious background?
Question?
Do you remember?
Not really, no.
Right. Can someone write in on the public chat what the answer to number 12? Alex and Laetitia have helped with fellow. We've got égaux, semblable, mes pairs. That's it. That's too general a term. He does belong to a particular religious persuasion. Does anyone remember? Laetitia, do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
All right. Anyone else? Starts with Q.
Wake up.
Laetitia?
Wake up, maybe?
You've had a maybe, you're right.
Okay.
Laetitia, do you know anything much about the Quakers?
It's a sort of Puritan. It's a branch of Puritanism. They were persecuted in Europe. And
What, the Quakers? The Puritans were, but I'm not sure that you can say put them on the same level as the Puritans. How would you easily find out information about the Quakers? Laetitia?
Can you repeat your question?
How would you easily find information about the Quakers, who they are, what they believe?
I'm sorry, because you speak very too fast for me.
Oh. If you want to find more information on the Quakers, que faire?
Looking on the internet.
Where?
Wikipedia.
Absolutely. Tout est là. Tout est là. Use it. Thank you. Julien, back to you.
Yes.
Have you heard of the expression, something is rotten in the state of Denmark?
It's Marcellus from Hamlet who say it.
True. It's a very famous expression. You could say something is rotten in the state of Valenciennes. They would understand. Yes, it's from Shakespeare. It's from Hamlet. You can do the next one while we're here. What's the middle name of Trick Dixon?
I don't remember.
I don't believe you. What's the middle initial? He hasn't. We don't know the name. We just know the initial.
It's E.
You did know it.
Yes, Mathilde wrote it in the global chat.
Oh, I see. Did you come to the CM the other day? The first cours magistral? Did you come to the CM on Roth?
Yes.
Well, I talked about E. Tricky is in tricky. K-Y, tricky. Is the adjective? If you say trick E, it's almost as if you are saying tricky. Y.
Ah, yes. Ah,
Yeah.
yes.
Good. Now we remember. Thank you. Alex.
Yes.
The word lip is confused with which other word of 3 letters?
Hip.
How do you spell it?
HIP.
Yes. Did you find that rather amusing?
Yeah. Well, it's not the same.
We can ask you the next question, perhaps. Who can't stop alliterating in the novel?
Vice President, what's his name?
Yes, that's the VP. Good. In one word, what did Tricky die from? Alex,
Me again?
yes.
Drowning.
Yes, he was drowned. He died from drowning. Good, well done. Dylan?
Oh, yeah.
You are now unmuted.
Yes.
Which word is repeated for nearly a whole page in the novel?
I think it's bleu or something like that.
But how do you pronounce this word in English?
Bleu? I don't know.
You say blah blah in French.
Yes.
We don't speak French. We pronounce it in English.
Blé? Je don't know.
You have no idea.
Blé.
You've just proved you've got no idea. Blah, blah.
Oh,
Can you repeat, please?
blah, blah.
Yes, blah, blah. Were you surprised when you saw a whole page with blah, blah written on it?
But I was surprised.
Yes, but why not? Why not?
Yes.
Why did Roth write a whole page with blah, blah? What's his logic?
Well,
He got stuck on his computer, on his typewriter, did he?
oh, I think it's can be a metaphor for the speech of political people. Well,
Yes, you're correct. Good, fine. Thanks for that.
You are now muted.
Morgan is going to finish.
Yep.
What's the surname of the man who delivered the eulogy at Tricky's funeral?
Cupcake.
Good. This has got two meanings in English. What's the most obvious meaning of a cupcake?
It's the little dessert. I don't know. The cake.
It's a
Little
little
cake
cake.
with the thing on the top.
Yeah. It also has a second meaning. Do you know what it is? If you call someone a cupcake, qu'est-ce que ça veut dire?
I don't know. Someone naive, maybe.
Someone what?
Naive.
Nice?
Naive.
Naive.
Yes.
What's naive about a cupcake?
I don't know.
Me neither.
It seems, I don't know, maybe childish.
What's childish about a cupcake?
I mean, a cupcake, sometimes you can make it cute with the little thingies on the top.
Yeah. Cupcake means c'est un fou.
Okay.
Yeah. You've learned something. But you could ask me, what's fou about a cupcake?
Yeah. What's
I can't-
crazy about a cupcake?
I can't answer. Lastly, where does the last chapter take place?
In hell.
Thank you. Well done. Can you look at your sheet, take out your big stylo rouge, and give yourself une note sur 20? Morgan, can you give us your final result, please?
Okay. 18 out of 20.
You are such a frimeuse today. Well done. You know the novel very well. I'm pleased to hear your final result. That is excellent. Laetitia, how did you go? Didn't quite hear the number.
Sorry?
How many did you get?
3 out of 20.
Right. What's your conclusion?
Read the novel.
Thank you. Julien, how did you go?
15.
Ah, good. Not too bad. Some of those little questions were a little bit difficult. It shows a good knowledge of the novel, so well done. Yasmin, can you write in your result, please? Yasmin might have had time to do it. Alex, how did you go?
18 as well.
Ah, excellent. Bravo, excellent. Yasmin just told me 14, which is not too bad. Good. Dylan, how did you go?
You are now unmuted.
15.
Good. Good knowledge of the novel. Keep up the good work.
You are now
Mathilde
muted.
P, how did you go? And Mathilde R, how did you go? Okay, thanks. 15 is not too bad. And 13 is not as good as 15, but okay, thanks. Fine. We've got to give you, so those people who've got very high scores, well done, and the others, not too bad. Have you downloaded the prefaces that I put on Moodle? Can you bring that up on your screen, please? Now, our particular edition of the novel does not have a preface. There's nothing. We don't find a preface to the novel. But it appears that there were two paperback editions, one dating from May 1973, one dating from a year later, May 1974. And for these particular editions, which were later than when it was first published, Roth agreed with the publisher to write a preface for that particular edition. They are of interest. They are of interest. So that's why I have copied them, found them, and put them on the sheet. We're going to read them and see what we think of these two prefaces. Julien, can you unmute, please?
Yes.
Good. Can you read for us the introduction at the top there, the short prefaces, please?
Okay. The short prefaces printed below were written by Ross for two special Bantam paperback editions of Our Gang that appeared in 1973 and 1974. The Watergate edition preface, May 9, 1973, and the preface to the pre-impeachment edition, May 8, 1974, are in part of the author's reaction to some of the negative commentaries about Our Gang after it was first published by Random House in the fall of 1971. In an editorial, Time, October 25, 1971, called the novel a maniacally scurrilous satire and accused the author of being extravagantly hostile. The New Republic, in an unassigned review, November 6, 1971, criticized Roth's sense of decorum and that he made no effort to disguise the fact that his target was Richard M. Nixon, President of the United States.
Thank you. Just stop there for a little minute. Stay there. We're given some sort of explanation why Roth wrote these two prefaces. What seems to be an explanation from what you just read?
It's to answer to the negative commentaries.
Yes, we don't say answer to, it's just reply to, you can say, or answer without to. Reply is the best word there. Yeah, it seems that when the novel was published, he got quite a bit of criticism from different different people. And to address that criticism, he then wrote the two prefaces. What was he criticized for? Do we have an examples of the nature of criticism?
He was criticized because his target was the President of the United States, Nixon.
That's part of it, but just because, well, what sort of things did he?
Oh, he was too hostile.
That's it. It was too hostile. It was too hostile. What he said about, what he implied about Nixon. When it says manically scurrilous satire, what's manically mean?
Maniac.
Yeah. Well, what's the meaning of maniac? Think more of the Greek word mania. What's mania? You know?
I don't know.
It means mad, fou.
Hmm.
Scurrilous just means highly critical. So a highly critical satire, which in fact was completely mad. Right, continue reading, please.
The novel's scouting portrayal of the Nixon administration predated the damning revelation from the Senate Select Committee on Presidential Campaign Activities that investigated Watergate.
Don't worry about the dates.
Okay. Vice President Spiro T. Agnew's resignation and the House Judiciary Committee presidential impeachment hearing. Richard M. Nixon formally resigned the presidency at noon on August 9, 1974.
Good, thank you for that. I'll ask another student now to take over. Thank you. Alex, can you help us, please? When you're mentally ill is put down for manically, I think. Alex, can you? Good. So this novel was published in the autumn of 1971. What things happened in American politics after it was published? What's the main event linked up with Nixon that happened after it was published?
Pentagon Papers?
Excuse me?
The Pentagon Papers?
Yes, we have a word that describes the whole scandal. What's the essential word?
Watergate?
That's it. So we'll come back to. Do you briefly know anything about Watergate? What does the word mean to you? Alex has now disappeared.
Not much.
Well, you need to find out something about Watergate. It is sort of important for us. Watergate refers to the name of a building. Thus, the word Watergate. It's the name of a building in Washington. And what happened was that Nixon had his first term as president. He came to the end of it. And then he ran for re-election for a second term, you see. And in order to help his chances, he got some friends of his, some guys, and he said, look, I want you to go and burglarize the building where all the papers are held for the Democrats. See what you can find about the Democrats that might help us in our campaign. So the guys did it. They illegally entered this building. They stole material and they took it back to Nixon. This is a crime. You can't do this. It came out what had happened. The authorities, the FBI, discovered what happened, and Nixon denied that he knew anything about what was going on. This kept on going. The authorities got hold of tapes, recordings that Nixon made in the White House. And it was obvious from these recordings that he was guilty. They had this select committee and they had a little trial and he was impeached, the same as Trump. However, to avoid conviction, unlike Trump, Nixon resigned and he left office. Well, let's have a look at the preface to the Watergate edition. Well, I might read it for you and then we'll look at it together. My publisher has asked me if there is any statement I should like to make about the 1971 Nixon book, Our Gang, as a result of what I read in the press and see on television about the Watergate scandal, which I've just explained to you. Yes, there is. I wish publicly to apologize to President Nixon. Only now do I realize that I had no right whatsoever to depict him back then, if only in fiction, as a moral hypocrite, a lawless opportunist, a shameless liar, and a thoroughgoing totalitarian at heart. What evidence did I have to support such a fantasy? My fellow Americans, what evidence did any of us have? Did we have a wiretap on the White House phones? This is les écoutes. Did we have a wiretap on the White House phones that gave us reason to portray Nixon with such viciousness? I'm afraid the answer is we did not. Did we have records and reports burglarized from White House file cabinets? I'm afraid once again, the answer is no. Did we have depositions taken from White House employees that cast doubt upon the president's probity? In the previous TD, someone asked me what probity mean. I simply said probité. Once again, no. Did we have as much as a single unsubstantiated charge made by a White House aide to save his own neck by turning on his boss? No, we did not. We, alas, I had nothing even faintly resembling the incriminating kind of evidence that is now to be found every morning in the daily newspaper and every night on the evening news. Nevertheless, without a single shred of the sort of evidence with which we are presently being bombarded, I went ahead and concocted, fabriqué, out of whole cloth of this fantasy in which the President of the United States of America is held up to ridicule and scorn. How could I have permitted myself to go off on this bender, in other words, to be so silly, so mad, of cynicism and paranoia is, I fear, something only a psychiatrist can explain. I think I will break into the office of one at midnight tonight. He's referring to the breaking of the Watergate building, and ask for help. In the meantime, I announce publicly that I'm sorry for any pain or embarrassment that my hostile, malicious, and for all I may discover, pathological imaginings, may have caused the president and his family. For whatever damage I may have inflicted upon the office of the presidency, I will, of course, have to answer to the American people. Let me say to them, in the president's own words, responsibility belongs here. I accept it. To do otherwise would be, as the president himself said, cowardly. That then is the preface to the Watergate edition, May 1973. I'm going to ask you to write something down for me on a sheet of paper or your computer. The question is, what was the goal, le but? What was the goal of Roth in writing this particular 1973 preface? C'était quoi son but? So have a little think. Can you write something down for me in the next 5 minutes or so, 5 or 6 minutes, and then we'll come back and compare what you have written. Thank you, Yasmin. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Mathilde. Thank you, Julien. Good. Things seem to be going well. I'll just unmute and let you work for yourself for 5 or 6 minutes.
Sarcasm.
which is on the other side of the river. Right, I guess
Bon, let's see how we're going. Morgan, can you unmute, please?
Yes.
Good. Can you read to us what you have written, please?
Yes. His goal was to call out the president. It may seem like an apology, but it really is full of sarcasm. Here he is not apologizing, but rather says that he did not really need evidence, but they help his case. In the end, he is saying, while quoting the president, "The responsibility belongs here, I accept it," by saying that he advises the president to accept the responsibility of his actions, since all the evidences are against him.
Right. The word evidence is always in the singular in English, by the way.
Okay.
You use the word sarcasm in your writing. What do you mean by the word sarcasm?
I mean that there is kind of a subtext to the text. When he writes it like an apology, but he does not really mean it. He uses it to make fun of the president, I think.
Good, I agree with you. He does seem to apologize, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Where it says, "I wish publicly to apologize to President Nixon." He makes that absolutely clear. Do you think he's not being sincere?
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. But sarcasm is not the term that you need here. And what I would suggest is you look up the term in the dictionary and find out exactly what it means.
Okay.
It's linked up with irony. And when you have irony, which is particularly nasty, a bit vicious, that is sarcasm. So if you find that Roth is being nasty, a little bit vicieux here, you could accuse him of sarcasm, but I don't think it's the case. But you did a pretty good job in what you read there. Thank you. Laetitia? Could you unmute? Good. Can you read what you've written, please, Letitia?
I didn't make such a huge text. I just said that I was making fun of Dixon's behaviors. That's all.
All right. We tend to use the word behavior in the singular. We don't need plural. Can you find a list of these behaviors?
Yes. First, in his principles about abortion.
No, we do have a list. You can unmute, and I'll ask another student to find the list of behaviors that you're talking about. Julien.
Yes.
Letitia mentioned that Rost was perhaps criticizing certain behavior that he observed in President Nixon. Do we have a list of such behavior in this preface?
Yes.
Good. Can you give us the list that we're looking for? What's he criticizing précisément?
So he criticized a moral hypocrite, a lawless opportunist, a shameless liar, and a thoroughgoing totalitarian at heart.
Exactly. Could you perhaps translate those accusations into French for us?
Alors, un hypocrite, un opportuniste sans foi ni loi,
Good.
un menteur sans gêne et
Sans honte.
sans gêne ou sans honte.
Ouais.
Et thoroughgoing totalitarian.
You understand thoroughgoing?
À moitié.
It means completely, utter, complete, complete.
Et un totalitarian, je sais pas comment le dire en français.
Perhaps convaincu might give it to you.
Un dictateur convaincu.
Dictator is not the same as totalitarian. That's dictateur.
Totalitarian, c'est totalitaire, mais.
But we've got the idea. Those accusations, who do they remind you of? Anyone else except Nixon? Julien? Has someone else been accused of being a moral hypocrite, a shameless, a lawless opportunist, a shameless liar, and a totalitarian recently?
Trump.
Thank you. Good. Alex.
Yes.
Can you read what you've written, please?
It is a fake apology and a disguised mockery of President Nixon. It is full of irony, and he mocks what he did with Watergate by insinuating he will break into a psychiatrist's office, just like his men did with the Watergate.
Yes, that's not bad, is it? That's good. When you said it's full of irony, Alex, can you get back on?
Yes.
Good. When you said it's full of irony, what did you mean by irony?
Well, as Morgan said, we know there is a lot of things underlying. He is not fully honest and really, I'd say that.
But what's your definition of irony, for example?
Saying something that seems true in a way that you know it's not.
Isn't that a lie? Alex seems to have disappeared. Isn't that a definition of a mensonge, a lie?
Well, there's a way to say things, and there's a way to put things. When there's a lie, you want people to believe what you say. When it's irony, you don't really care if they believe you or not.
That's not the best definition. But when he says, I wish publicly to apologize to President Nixon, we'll just look at that sentence. That will help you. How does that help you define irony?
Well, taking apart, this sentence might seem genuine.
Yeah.
Like, you might genuinely want to apologize, but
does he really mean the opposite?
With what follows, we know he means the opposite.
Good. That is the irony. Irony is when you say something and you mean the opposite. You understand now, Alex?
Yes.
Good. It's quite easy. You say something and you mean the opposite. He doesn't wish to apologize at all. Good. Thanks for that. Dylan, what do you have?
You are now unmuted.
Yes, so I said that the text, this preface is full of irony, and that it's not a real apology. And what you want to say that even though he didn't have any evidence back then, he knew what kind of man Nixon was.
Yes. When he says, I had no evidence before writing the novel, do you think that's true?
Well, I think he had they had some kind of evidence back then, but it wasn't as exposed as it was after the Watergate incident.
Sorry, I have a problem with your microphone, Dylan.
Oh. Well, I said that I think they had some evidence, but it wasn't exposed as it was after the Watergate incident.
All right. When he says I had no evidence, obviously he must have had some evidence, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to write such a bad portrait. Well, thanks for that. But you seem to have got the major idea. Roth is having a laugh when he's writing this preface. It's full of irony. He's not apologizing at all. He's not apologizing. He's seeming to apologize, but all that is part of the joke that is really behind writing this preface. Who has heard this expression before, to take the piss? Can you write in the little public chat there? If you understand the expression or have heard the expression, can you tell us, please? Morgan, do you understand the expression?
Excuse me, what?
Do you understand the expression to take the piss?
It's to take the blame, maybe.
It's not. Maybe? We'll find out in a moment from someone else. Okay. Laetitia.
So taking the piss out of somebody or something is...
Absolutely. So thank you for that. A full expression we can use is to take the piss out of someone or something. You're absolutely perfectly correct. So what does that mean?
It means to make a joke about someone or make someone look silly.
Good. Do you think that that is what Roth is doing in the novel?
Completely, yes.
Good. Is he also taking the piss by writing this 1973 preface?
Yes, it puts even more pressure on the criticisms he makes and the irony. He is even taking the piss.
Thank you for that explanation. Good. Thanks for that. Well, Laetitia has given us the full picture. Well done. It is a helpful sort of little expression. To take the piss means to not be serious. You're taking the piss you're not serious. And to take the piss out of someone means to mock them, to criticize them, or something would also work as well. Well, there is a second preface we need to sort of have a quick look at before we finish. This is preface to the pre-impeachment. So it's a year later, and it seems that by this stage, things have got so bad that Nixon has been threatened with impeachment. Just a year ago, at the time of the Watergate hearings, my publisher asked if I would contribute an introduction to a special Watergate edition of Our Gang, my 1971 satire of the Nixon administration. Now, as a result of the release and publication of the White House transcripts, these are the recordings made in the White House, Batter Books is no longer asking me for an introduction, for introductions. They are demanding an explanation. To be sure, they have no quarrel with me about the depiction of Tricky, the US president of our gang. Apparently, they have compared the candid exchanges between President Nixon and his advisors in the transcripts to those between Tricky and his friends in our gang, and have concluded that I did not in any way attempt to whitewash of presidential wrongdoing. In other words, I didn't pretend it didn't happen, nor did I try to represent the president and his advisors in any less crooked, meaning dishonest, or any smarter than they came off in the transcripts. What disturbs them about our gang is that in it I failed to give any indication whatsoever of the profanities that apparently punctuate President Nixon's conversation. Indeed, not only did I delete the expletives favored by the president, I even deleted the bracketed phrase, expletive deleted. In short, I stand accused by Batter Books of taking part in a cover-up of the president's dirty mouth. What is worse, I allegedly did this in a book that was submitted to them as a no-holds-barred political satire. There are even those who would have me now come clean by inserting into the president's mouth the words that rightfully belong there. We can just stop there if you like. Dylan.
You are now
Yes.
unmuted. You are now muted. You are now unmuted.
Yes.
Good. What seems to be the major subject of that part of the 1974 preface?
It's the publication of the White House transcripts, what Nixon did in the White House.
Well, I'm having problems with the microphone as well, listening to you as well. I'll mute myself, and can you repeat what you said, please? That might help.
I said that it's about a special edition after the publication of the White House transcript. So the recordings of that Nixon did in the White House.
The microphones don't seem to be working too well at this stage for some reason. Before, there was no prob, but now I'm not sure what the reason is. Just wait for Morgan or something. While we're waiting, we have the word profanities. I failed to give any indication whatsoever of the profanities that apparently punctuate President Nixon's conversation. Okay. What's the meaning of profanity here? Can people write something in the public chat? Yes, what's a profanité? What's the meaning of profanity? Just so that we understand. Alex, your microphone tends to be working okay, I think. Can you get back on?
Yes.
What's a profanity, do you think? If you're talking and you use a profanity, what does that mean?
A swear word.
It could be that, yes, or there's a sort of second possibility as well.
Isn't it? Isn't wait.
Linked up with religion.
Yes.
What could be an example?
God damn it.
Yes. There is a difference between French and English. There is in English you can use various profanities that are not used at all in French. The most common one is Jesus or Jesus Christ. If you're angry, you might say Jesus or Jesus Christ. That's an example of a profanity. Well, what's going on is that once the telephone conversations that Nixon held in the White House became public knowledge, they were printed in the newspapers, word for word. Here we go. Injure, blasphème, vulgarité. Obscénité, grossièreté. Yes, thank you, Letitia. Once these transcripts, these écoutes were published, people realized that Nixon, when he spoke, was full of injure, blasphème, and vulgarité. That's how he normally spoke. And Roth is saying in the preface, look, I'm now being accused of not giving you the full picture. I didn't put into the novel this aspect of Tricky. I didn't have Tricky come out with all this horrible grossier language, and I apologize for this. What do you think of such an apology? Anyone can make a comment. What do you think of this? If he's making a, if he's sort of saying, "I'm sorry that I didn't put all these gros mots into the novel," what do you think of such an apology? Morgan is going to write something for us. But while she's writing, yes. Can you use another expression, Morgan? Tout simplement. Julien, can you get back on, please?
Yes.
Morgan said that Roth is being ironic in this second preface. Do you agree?
I don't think so.
I'm just trying to have a little quick look there.
It's the second one.
Yeah, we're looking at the second one now.
Yes, I don't think he's.
Oh, hang on. Right, let's drop that.
Oh.
Go on.
Or maybe yes. I think he is because at the end, for example, because he's criticized by the use of profanities, and at the end, oh wait, yes, he used expletive deleted between brackets to show that he almost used profanity, but he.
Well, the irony is that if you look at the novels of Philip Roth, he is rude, quite. He is rude sometimes, and he does use profanities in his novels. You see, that perhaps is part of the irony. He's being accused of leaving it out of the novel, of this novel, but in other novels, we do find profanities and horrible and all that. Okay, that's about it for today. Alex, can you quickly get back on, please?
Yes.
What did you learn about Philip Roth today?
He doesn't really like Nixon.
Excuse me?
He doesn't really like Nixon.
But you knew that before.
Yes.
Did you learn anything more than... There you had confirmation. You had confirmation that he didn't like Nixon. Fine. Did you learn anything else today?
He has absolutely no intent to apologize to him.
Why should he? Why should he? A novelist is free to do what they want. They don't answer to anyone, except readers, I suppose. If readers don't like it, they won't read it. End of story. Good. Well, thanks very much for coming this morning. I hope you haven't got too much planned for today online. Enjoy your holiday break next week, and we will catch up the following week for la suite. So have a good day, and thank you for coming today.